All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown. All three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm here to review one of my top 5 favorite writers has just come out with a new book 2 days ago, and it is called The Armor of Light, and the author is Ken Follett, and this is a book set in his Kingsbridge series of books. This is the 5th book set in the series, and it would also be the 5th one you'd want to read. It would go over here. So we've got book #1, The Evening and the Morning, which is about a fictional town of Kingsbridge set in the, sort of the Viking era of southern England. And then we've got, of course, the immensely popular Pillars of the Earth, which was the first book he ever wrote in this series. And this was set in the 11th century of Kingsbridge in southern England, about the building of a cathedral. A World Without End was set several hundred years later after that. Continuation of the town and the cathedral. A Column of Fire was set several hundred years after that. Again, a continuation of the history of the town. And in this book, An Armor of Light was set in the year from about the year 1792 to about the year 1815 or something around there, the Napoleonic War era of southern England. So Kingsbridge has had a long history. This fictional town has had a long history through the eyes of master storyteller Ken Follett. And every single one of these books is huge and epic and just immerses you in the time and place in which the story is set, and the grittiness and the realistic way it was to live, like, say, in Viking times or the 11th century, or even in the late 1700s, early 1800s. Living in southern England was no picnic even then. And Ken Follett does a good job of describing this. Sort of, all the characters, and that's the thing, is the characters are the things that sell these books so much for me. Not just the immersion into time and place, but everything. So this book kind of spirals around the invention of a thing called the spinning jenny, which was invented at about 1770. And it was an invention that changed the world. It's, what's on the cover is a piece of cloth. We always review the covers first in every book review I do, because I love graphic design and cover illustration. And once again, a great, fancy, elegant-looking cover for a Ken Follett novel. Wraps around, nice photo of the dude on the back. But on the front, this blue denim-looking fabric, the spinning jenny came alive. I need people before the spinning jenny showed up, and because the spinning jenny made it so 8 people could, one person could just pedal on a thing, and it would do the work of 8 people weaving together cloth, and revolutionized the world, revolutionized this part of England. Brought a lot of businesses to the forefront, made a lot of people rich, made a lot of workers lose their jobs, but also made a lot more workers work extra hard to keep their jobs, which is kind of the theme of this entire story. So it starts out right from the beginning. There's a woman named Sal. She's a wife and a mother, a young lady. Her husband is killed. Her husband is named Harry. He is killed in a work accident that was caused just because of the neglect of the owner of the business. He put too much weight on a horse cart, and the horse cart fell and crushed this man. And so this is right in the it's in the jacket. It's the first chapter. It sets up the plot. So Sal is now widowed. She has to take care of a young son. She has no work skills of her own. Her husband, who was making all the money, is now dead. And she's thinking, As is custom, the owner of the business typically will take care of the widow if the husband is killed in an accident. There's no law stating this has to take place. It's just sort of a gentleman's agreement. If one of your workers dies on the job and you've got the money, you take care of that family. Well, this business owner just happens to be a complete douchebag, for lack of a better word, and he's like, no, I'm not going to pay for you. You just go out and get a job of your own. Just go get your own work. I am in this to make a profit. I don't care that your husband died because he's stupid, not because of my negligence. Just go get your own job and leave me alone. And this is this is how Ken Follett really creates some evil characters, right? Because now we've got protagonist with a problem, evil character that she's got to fight against, right? And it's a situation that the reader really empathizes with this young mother who's left bereft of her husband, trying to raise a young son. Well, her young son is named Kit, and he is a young boy. And this business owner has got a brother, and the brother has a little compassion. And the brother says, well, I've got a big manor house, your kid is going to starve to death, and you're going to have to go get a job where you're not even going to be able to take care of this boy. So let me take this young boy into the manor house, and he will be a servant at our manor house. The young boy wants no part of this. The mom, Sal, she is like upset about it too, but she understands the reality of the situation, that she has to do this. So she lets her young son go live at this manor house. So now we've got sort of this plot that's taking place in this manor house, sort of this Downton Abbey thing, where there's a lot of drama between the two brothers, between everything that's going on in the manor house. We've got this woman Sal who's trying to make a living, trying to right the wrongs of the upper nobility of England, some of these guys can just get away with their workers working their men to death, working people hours and hours and hours, paying them low wages, and if they accidentally kill them, some of them just don't even take responsibility for that. No, like most of them would, like I said, most of them would, but not all, and it was not a law. You didn't have to if you didn't want to. Another character is Elsie. She's 20 years old, she's a young woman, and she is herself sick of seeing these people, the peasants, the serfs, working for these noblemen, forced to work 14-hour days, only getting Sundays off to tend to their own garden and their own needs. Not only that, but the kids have to work. Young kids are also conscripted into the workforce. Young kids, and they have to work 14-hour days. And she is like, this is not fair because these young kids have no chance of being educated. The nobility, they get to go to college, they get to go to elementary school and high school and junior high school and have the prom and all that stuff and play on the football team and the baseball. I'm making all that. You know what I'm saying? The nobility get to be educated. The young kids that are not born rich, they just work 14-hour days and have Sundays off. Well, she has asked if she can start a school on Sundays and invite all of these children to her school so she can teach them reading and writing so they can get a leg up. And she, of course, comes up against nothing but resistance. And that is another plot thread that you follow through this epic novel. And then we've got Amos. He's another 20-year-old. He's sort of down on his luck with the ladies. His father is one of these rich guys, but his father, he has to work for his father, but his father just expects the labor for free. You're my son, you will work for me, and I don't pay you anything. You're just lucky to live in a mansion, so F you, dude. And then, so he's kind of like, but how can I take a girl on a date? I don't have any money. He just really, all he wants is to get paid like a $5 bill so he can take the girl he likes out on the town. That's all he dreams about. And he can't make it happen until his father mysteriously dies. And then he takes over the business. Now suddenly he's got a whole crap load of other problems he's got to deal with. And so all these people are kind of, the theme of this novel is, I think, Ken Follett talking about how rich people, and this can even, today, we can compare this to what goes on today. Rich CEOs are just at the top of the food chain, and it's to a ridiculous degree. Even in old England, in the 1700s of England, those rich people, the same deal. And the poor people, Well, that's why people moved to America, because America was a free place. It didn't deal with that, you know? And then all of this sort of takes place, and we watch these characters grow from the year 1792 all up until about 1815. And we get to see them through the Napoleonic Wars, and we get to see Waterloo. We get some of these characters are involved in this stuff. And so, like I said, I've just touched these little snippets of how the plot gets started, or really just snippets. I mean, Ken Follett does such a great job of letting us follow these characters through this landscape of the late 1700s and early 1800s of England. He lets us follow these characters through this landscape as they deal with the problems in Kingsbridge in southern England, as they deal with the overall world events like the Napoleon invasion and Waterloo, and some of them get kind of conscripted into that. And so it's just another gem of a book by Ken Follett. Historical novel done to perfection. In fact, of all four of these books, Pillars of the Earth is, of course, a classic and my favorite, but I'm telling you, this one is my next favorite after Pillars of the Earth. I sat, when this came out yesterday, I got it in the morning in the mail from Amazon, and I sat on my porch and read the first, this is an 800-page novel. I read the first 600 pages just that day. Just finished the thing today. I zoomed through it. It was one of my favorite reading moments in the last couple of years, just sitting on my porch, living in this universe. This is a 10 out of 10 for me, as are pretty much all the other Ken Follett novels. And I don't just have the Kingsbridge series. I got every Ken Follett novel in my collection. But, so for this new one, An Armor of Light, big thumbs up, 10 out of 10, Dynamite.